If you see the homies with the guap, with the knots, in the rows, that's how I know you niggas really broke, with no goals, and it shows. The money blue, designer shoes, Jimmy Choo, Louis boots.
Welcome to the intricate nature of university application. This is your host, Brendan and
John.
And we will be uploading our podcast regularly. Our podcast will cover Canadian and American university applications for Canadian high school students. We're not some sort of qualified admissions officers, nor are we in some sort of prestigious university. We're just some high school students in Canada, but we hope to be your companion in the journey towards your goal. So, John, how's it going?
I'm doing awesome. I mean, I barely slept for the last 24 hours, but yeah, I'm doing well.
Yeah, you sound dead inside. You should get some sleep after.
Thank you.
Okay, so today's topic is time management. So I guess we should start off with, what does time management really mean to us?
Time management for me is because I constantly battle with procrastination. It for me, like, I really work on finishing tasks on time before the deadline. Not doing all the things at the last minute.
I don't know, because I feel like a lot of students just they always complain that they don't have enough time to do work, and I don't think I really understood that. I just feel like if you plan your time out properly, then like you really shouldn't have any problem completing your tasks.
Yeah, very true, because everyone has 24 hours, and really, for the people
it's
who...
like, I mean, all you really have to do is just take like 5 minutes every day and just sort of see where you're at with everything. It doesn't take long.
Yep.
And if you do it sort of proactively, like you can really get ahead with what you've got, and sort of just, not miss deadlines, which I feel like is really important, especially when you're a kid, just because you need to practice that skill for real life.
Yep. Very true. Yeah. For the people who are struggling, I would definitely recommend setting a virtual, like, imaginary deadline, probably like 1 or 2 days ahead, so you can kind of have that. So, like, I would like, like the panic monster. Like, every people who procrastinates will relate to this. Like, there's a panic monster that comes out right before the deadline. It helps you finish things, but it doesn't. So you can't really pull up a quality work if you finish everything at the last minute. So yeah, for the panic monster to come out earlier than that, you definitely want to, like, set an imaginary deadline.
Exactly, and I think I do that too. It's just, it keeps me on track with everything, and
Yep.
I don't know about everyone else or about you, John, but like my teachers love to like sort of show up like a day before and be like, oh, you also have to do this, or it's sort of to, like, for a lot of students, and this was me at like 7th grade, it really got to me a lot of times, because it's like, oh my gosh, I have to do this one extra component that I really don't have enough time for. And I think that as soon as I just started planning my time out properly, more sort of just allocating my time more efficiently, I didn't really have any problem with that. And just sort of, you don't have to have like some elaborate sort of planner or whatever. Like, you don't have to, I don't know, like be a good artist to have proper time management. Like, for me personally, I just use a calendar that's on my iPhone, and that works pretty darn good.
Yeah, same for me.
At keeping track of time. And because I feel like a lot of people, whenever they think of time management, they think of all those I think YouTubers that have like really elaborate planners and color code everything. But to be fair, some of the best planners, in my opinion, are the simplest ones, because they are so minimalistic that you are sort of just it only serves one purpose. Like you're not sitting there looking at your drawings or whatever. You're actually there to get work done. That's just me. If you're more of a visual person, you might find it beneficial if you know, do drawings and stuff. But for me personally, I just keep mine very simple, um, because I get distracted easily. So
Yeah, for me the same.
what do you
Like
use?
I focus on the functions instead of the aesthetics. Like I try to make my planner as simple as possible. I just for me I use GoodNotes for even planning. There's a planner layout, and I just write down the task I want to do on a daily basis, and then I basically make a checklist, like the ones you see in an airplane, and I just take tasks that I completed. So yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, and again, you know, what may work for me may not work for other people. So I think
Yep,
it's a really good idea that you experiment with different
very true.
techniques. Um, some people also use a program called, or like a software called Notion, or an application called Notion. Do you know it? You
Yeah,
probably do.
I
Do
do.
you use it?
Yep, and it's free, so I used it until recently. I used it like until like probably like until my grade 11 biology ended. I recently just switched to Bear, which is very similar to Notion, but Bear has like a really good Mac app. For Notion, like doesn't support Mac OS. It has like the web clipper thing, but it doesn't have like the official like app. So that's why I switched to Bear. But essentially, like their functions are the same. Like it's a really good note taking app. So yeah,
What's the difference between Bear
Bear
and
and Notion.
Notion?
Well, for me, like I've only used Bear for like what 5 days, so I don't see a lot of difference, but the layout and stuff are just a little bit teeny tiny better on Bear, and it's more like Notion has a lot of like commands and stuff like that, right? Bear is more like it's more automated. I'd say like it's yeah, you just have yeah, it's more simplified, not automated, simplified. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because I started using Notion too, a couple of years ago, to be honest with you, and I didn't really like it because it was too complex
Yeah,
for my
exactly.
tiny
Yeah.
brain.
You have
There
to
was too
like
many things
know
going
all the
on.
commands and stuff like that, right? If you want to like make a
Yeah, that
subcategory
and
and stuff like that. Yeah.
mhm, that and I was trying to I was trying to like centralize everything and like use Notion for everything like my planning and like note taking and stuff, and I just found that it didn't really work for me just because I like writing my notes. I don't like typing my notes, but I also like
Yeah,
keeping a digital planner,
exactly.
not writing. Um,
Kind of like
so there were
annotating on like presentation and stuff like
exactly,
that. You can do that on Good Notes, but for Notion, you can't do
exactly.
that. So, yeah.
So I sort of just stopped using it. I know some people would continue using it even though it doesn't work for them, and you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Um, just because, well, for one, there is one clear benefit of using Notion in that everything is centralized and you can find everything there.
Yep.
But then again, I realized for me it was easier and a lot more effective if I just use my calendar app on my iPhone and GoodNotes instead of just using
Hmm.
Notion where I knew it didn't work for me. Um, I think that was the single best decision I've made in my life. I'd be a lot more disorganized if I were still using Notion.
Yeah.
But I mean, some people do stand by it, so it must work for some people out there, just not me.
Yeah, I guess there's
Um,
definitely a learning curve when it comes to, Notion. Definitely have to get used to it in order to effectively use it.
right,
So,
right.
yep.
Were you always this, like, did you always use this method for time management or like when you were younger?
Uh, n- well, like for me, like I do use iPhone Calendar as well. If there's any events that's going to happen in the future, I just write them down on iPhone Calendar. But like hour by hour, I use GoodNotes instead. The planner, the planner layout thing.
Yeah, no, I use the time blocking method. And then again, I really don't follow that either. I sort of just have like a daily to-do list of things I want to get done and just get those done.
Yeah.
Um, I just found that the hour blocking method was like, it really restricted me. It was like I have to do this during this hour, even though half the time I didn't want to do any work at that time. So honestly, just I found that time blocking was a lot more effective for me,
Yeah.
um,
Definitely.
in terms of managing my time. And it was also a good decision I made. So, um, but like I guess my question is, were you always this good at time management? Like you get your work
No,
done on time and stuff.
I'm not good at time management. Yeah, mostly due to the way my brain works. Like, does time management is it's definitely not my strength. I delay things on a constant, on a constant basis, and like it's yeah, time management. Okay.
How does your brain work? Now I'm curious.
Okay, so it's it's pretty hard to explain but my brain is just so prone to like instant gratification, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, you ever heard of the term instant
Instant gratitude.
gratification? Like,
Sure.
yeah,
But you
like
can explain it one more time just in case, you know?
okay, sure, yeah. So like obviously like something that gives you like instant dopamine, that's called on instant gratification, like like indulging in like scrolling in like Reddit, for example. That's what I do all the time, right? So
Oh, you
yeah,
scroll on that.
I'm a redditor.
Wait, so if a teacher were to give you work, what's the first thing you would do?
I
Like an
read
assignment
them
or
once
something.
and then I and I procrastinate.
Oh,
But the
that's like the
thing
complete
is,
opposite.
procrastination, like it's if it's done, um, you know, if it's not excessive, it may give you a benefit of being creative. That's I read this book called Originals. I forgot the author's name, but it's basically about like there was a company that it was a startup, and there was this professor who thought that startup's gonna end up being a failure because the people who made it, um, they just procrastinated so much, like, and they made like backup plans and stuff, which the professor thought like they were not invested enough, right? But the thing is, um, people who are like creative, like really creative, they do make up backup plans. They're not like crazy risk takers. They take calculated risks and they constantly um, work on reducing those risks with not, but like just like taking stupid risks is not like the ideal. Um, that's not the ideal creative like idea. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I can tell you're tired.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like my mouth is not following like my brain's speed, if that makes sense. Like, yeah.
Right. You are on the other side of the world, so I understand.
Yeah, I am. I'm a completely
Um,
different time zone.
yeah. But like, I was gonna say something, but to be honest with you, I kind of forgot.
Sorry, I think I talked too much.
No. But there are some people who think that, yeah, like you know how you mentioned that some people like procrastinate to be creative? Like there are some people that like procrastinate smart and will
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I don't
That's
I
what I
don't know how
was.
that works. I don't know how that works.
So
Like I
just
don't know how you could possibly procrastinate and be smart about it. 'Cause like you're putting something away and you're gonna do it last minute or like you're gonna do it like how does that work from a person who doesn't
definitely like don't do
procrastinate
something at the
smart?
last minute. But if you have like, if the deadline is, if the deadline is like far away, then like you can definitely take, as aforementioned, calculated risks, right? So
Right.
just don't take stupid risks. Like, don't do something like 5 minutes before the deadline. Don't do that. Okay, so
I wonder who
like
does that.
I've done it once, but it was so fun. Like,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, just take calculated risks, I guess. Like, just hold off something for like a day or so, and in the meantime, like you can kind of think about it while you're doing something else, which can somehow benefit you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. If that's your definition of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
procrastinating smart, then I kind of do that too. Because like I don't start my assignments right away. I like sort of
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like
What?
while you're
Because
doing
when I
something
think of
else.
yeah, because when I think of like procrastinating smart or whatever, I think of like you finding how much time you like would need, like the minimum time that you would need, and like starting then. That's what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think of. But apparently, I'm not. That's not the what. That's not what it is. So I guess I do it too. And yeah, it does help me. So I
I
guess I do
did read an
procrastinate.
article that like if you procrastinate like smart, you're basically giving that task to your like subconscious mind, like so you sort of like subconsciously think about it, so that way like you can come up with a better idea if you again if you procrastinate smart. um yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I just if you want, because if I get an assignment, I like sort of plan it out in my head, like give myself deadlines, like you said previously, and I try and meet those deadlines to the best of my ability. Um, and to be fair, I tend to give my time more time. I tend to give myself more time than I need. So I really like I don't know. I just I guess I do procrastinate all the time then, or like I don't start things right away. That works
I mean
for
that's
me.
like it like as long as like you don't finish things at like the very last minute, like that's procrastinating. Sorry, procrastinating smart. So I don't think that's an issue at all. Like if you can finish like everything before the deadline, that's
Right.
it's perfect. You know.
Right. But I make it a point to finish my work like a day or two. I sound like the most I don't know. Never mind. I don't know. I make it a point to finish my work like a day or two ahead just so that I don't like stress myself out. Because I know
Yeah.
a lot of people I know like they do their work like a day or two before it's due and they like find themselves stressed out. I could not do that because I
Same.
will literally pull my hair out.
Yeah. Same. I'll definitely
And
burn
like
out if I do that.
yeah, and I don't know. I've done that in the past and I just found
Yeah.
myself not liking school and just like
Yeah.
dreading everything that comes with it. So honestly, I just do my work on time. Um,
Yeah.
but there
Not
are
fun
some
too.
people
Yep.
there are some people that don't use any form of time management or like they don't use a planner or like Notion or like anything like that. What are your thoughts on them?
Well, as a person who used to be like that, um, I mean, I completely understand. Like you're, uh, you know, you can't be bothered, but definitely like if you're approaching like senior year, like us, right, we're going to grade 11, you definitely want to build like robust like study habits before you enter those senior year, because the difficulty jump you will experience in grade 11, it's gonna be massive. So definitely recommend practicing those time management skills before you get into those senior years of a high school or possibly university, right? So you can kind of maximize your potential when you actually get there. Um,
Right.
definitely, yeah.
And obviously, one clear benefit of managing your time is that you're not constantly stressed, um,
Yep.
which I feel like for students is like, or at least for a lot of people I know, are like the biggest, I don't want to say complaints, but like
Yeah,
just sort
guys.
of things that they say. Yeah.
Stop
Um,
playing that dark playground. So playground is a term uh, that means like it means like like if you're, for example, like if you're as I said before, if you're scrolling like Reddit while you're procrastinating, you're sort of happy but you're not happy because you have like the assignment in mind, right? That feeling, like,
right.
yeah, like, why would you like have that feeling in your, like, just finish off the task, like, like, and then scroll Reddit, like, do whatever you want, right? um yeah.
Mhm.
So definitely,
Right.
like, yeah.
No, because that was me. I found myself not liking. anything that I did just because I was constantly worrying about the work that I had to do. So I think it wasn't until like seventh grade that I started using just I think your method
Notion.
of like doing
Oh,
of like using like a to-do list where I
yeah,
would literally take a piece of paper and draw like a box beside the task that I have to do and like just check off things um, before I sort of transitioned into like digitizing everything because I don't know if you digitize things, obviously one clear benefit is that you can't lose your planner or your agenda and that it's synced across all your devices, which is sort of just thank you technology and iCloud or whatever.
yeah.
You've made my life so much easier. Um,
Hey, speaking of
but
like
yeah,
digital, digital stuff, like, do you find online schools easier than like in-person schools, or do you do you think there's any benefit to, virtual learning?
um, I feel like it really depends on the person because I know there
Very
are some
true.
people that thrive in like an in-person setting.
Yeah,
But for me personally, I like the fact that if I'm online, I have the flexibility to sort of do what I want whenever I want and not have to like sort of be confined to whatever my teacher's, doing. Like if I'm done
yeah,
my work early, I
right.
don't have to like sit there in class and,
Very
you
true.
know,
And you
read a
sort of
book
like
or something.
work in a like a you don't have to work in like a certain environment. You can just do your work wherever you feel comfortable. So that's one benefit to, I guess, virtual
Right,
learning.
right. But I
Yeah.
do know that obviously like for some students and like some of my friends even like they don't have like that, I guess, luxury of having like their own workspace. They have to like share it with like their siblings and things, which I totally understand. So therefore, they would prefer an in-person setting. It's just that for me personally, I think that it's more beneficial for me if I just did work online. Um, but to be fair, I do think that the online sort of system, the whole online quad system or the modified semester system, is just sort of uh,
Yeah, it's a little
it's
bit
like
messy.
I don't know. Like, I don't, who thought of that idea? Or like, why
Exactly.
did they think it was like, I want to know what was going through their brain. They obviously had some sort of like, this would probably work well for students, but like, I'm curious as to what they were thinking
Yeah,
when they made that
my question
decision.
is like, what kind of scientific evidence does quadmester or like modified like semester system get like benefit the students? Like, how, like, and why? Like, like,
Right,
why don't we just stick to like the old ways? Like,
right.
exactly.
Um, because I had French, because I'm also taking French in grade 11, but I had grade 10 French first semester, or first quad. So
Yeah,
that means I
yeah,
had it, what, from like September to October.
very true.
Needless to say, I like forgot my French. And like, I'm like screwed for grade 11 French and grade 11 science, I think, or like grade 11 bio, because like I
It's
don't
like
remember
each
anything.
sorry, like each quadmester is kind of like summer school. It's like super condensed, and like the teacher goes over the material like super fast. So
It is.
yeah, that's like one downside, I guess.
I mean, obviously, I guess with the whole quad system, like it's easier to like do contact tracing and stuff, or like having some kids online or at home and then having some kids at school. Like it makes that easier. So that's obviously one upside to it, but I guess for students especially, like that's not really some students and teachers like that's not really a good option for them just because you know you're obviously learning 8 months of content in like 8 weeks or whatever.
Very true.
So it's really stressful for a lot of students,
Yeah.
and especially during a time when there's a lot of uncertainty and stuff. Like it's
Hmm.
just you're adding more stress to them
Very
that they
true.
probably don't need.
And I think for like subjects that require like in person, sort of like, for example, like chemistry, if you want to do lab work, like you have to be in an in person like setting. I'm really sick of like those gizmo assignments. Like,
Gizmos, like they're
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
boring. They
exactly,
take the fun out of science.
exactly, yeah. And like one of those like tech subjects, like I took it like full virtual, and it's pretty bad. So yeah, like
Because
robotics.
you need to be in person for those subjects. Like for
Yeah,
subjects
yeah,
like math and stuff and like English, I guess you could do it at like
yeah,
online, but like I don't want to be doing labs on Gizmos and like doing a worksheet afterwards. Like it's boring.
Yeah, I don't
Like I
want
want
to.
to be
I don't
like
want to like. I don't want to make a robot on a like virtual simulator on a computer. It's
yeah,
just
like I want to be mixing stuff together in chemistry and like blowing
exactly.
stuff up.
Yeah,
And that's
you're
really
just clicking
chemistry.
stuff instead. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sad.
Honestly.
So, what is the winging it method?
The winging it method,
Yeah.
for me personally, the winging it method is just going with the flow and just not having any form of sort of organizational system whatsoever.
You've done
Um,
it before?
oh yeah, like in like sixth grade, and then I found how easy my life became after I started making like to-do lists and stuff, and I did that, and I that was the most that was probably a really good decision on my part because I stopped missing deadlines, and my
Yeah.
teachers became instantly happier with me. So
I think I've done it
win-win for
until
everyone,
like
I
grade
guess.
9. Like in tech, like I winged every single test. So yeah, I definitely kind of slacked off. I just didn't feel that subject was that important for me. It was like technological design, AutoCAD, and that kind of stuff. But I winged it, but it was okay because there wasn't like much memorization to it. It was just really technical stuff, so I didn't really have to study much. So yeah,
That's like a topic for another day, like tests and stuff,
yeah,
or
yeah,
like
yeah.
just like that's like a whole nother can of worms. Um, I don't know, just winging it for me, it worked to an extent, but then it just stopped working because then I had like my extracurriculars that I needed to do as well, and then I just like my brain couldn't remember all the stuff
Oh yeah,
because you
like
know when you sorry,
speaking
go
of
ahead.
extracurriculars, like what kind of extracurriculars do you have? Like what do you do for ECs?
Um, I don't know. Well, I volunteer. I don't know why I do this to myself. I volunteer a lot. So at like
How many hours do you have
airport,
right now? How many hours do you have?
I stopped counting
Oh my
just
god,
because
I thought it was
I
like
didn't
five
like that
thousand hours
anymore.
or something.
Oh, I know people with like 1,000 hours. I'm like, how do you do that? I have like
Jeez.
300
Oh my
and
god.
13 and a half hours. Um, but I stopped counting because like it's like if you're gonna volunteer, do it for yourself. Don't do it because you have to like
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
count how many hours. Like that, then that's just like it kind of like defeats the purpose because you're just like I don't know, you're just doing it for
Your
hours. Like
benefit. Yeah.
it doesn't really make sense. I'd
Right.
rather do it
It's
for
not
like
really
self
volunteer.
growth and stuff than
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and giving back to the community than just you know doing it because I have to meet some stupid requirement. Anyways, how many hours do you have?
I think I have like 50 or something. I don't have a lot.
I mean, at least you have 40. At least you have at least 40, so you can graduate.
Yeah, I mean, I can graduate, but I just need more stuff to put on my resume, and then volunteering is it's fun. Like it's a great way to connect with other people, and you know, um, I guess kind of there's volunteers like tutoring stuff like that. You can kind of I guess share your skill set that you have, and it's a great opportunity to again like connect with other people. So um, yeah,
Yeah, I found that volunteering really sort of opened my eyes in terms of like what I was interested in. Because before I was absolutely oblivious as to what I liked and what I didn't like. And it wasn't until I started volunteering that I was like, yeah, okay, maybe I don't like, tutoring or like teaching kids, but maybe I do like, helping the elderly and things like that. Um, so yeah, I think that everyone should get involved or at least try to get
yep,
involved in their community, at least in one way or
and
another. It doesn't have to be
especially
like
like
every day. Yeah.
during quarantine, it's a good way
You
to
need connection.
yeah, right.
Yeah. Um, so in which case I think we're at the half an hour mark, or we're pretty close to it.
Yep.
Any other thoughts before we close off?
Well, I guess it was amazing to really share our ideas with other people. Uh, and really think about like what you, Brendan, think about time management. and hearing about like different methods and stuff like that. Uh, um, yeah, it was very interesting.
Definitely. And to all to all the people who might be listening to this, I just honestly don't knock it until you try it. Like I feel like you should just give everything a chance before you kind of just are like, yeah, no, it doesn't work. And I know it may seem like time management or like, volunteering or whatever, it seems like extra work, and it is extra work, but trust me, and especially time management, like, or like having like an organizational system, it really does make your life easier, even in the slightest bit, because you don't have to constantly have all your things in mind. Um, yeah. So thank you for tuning in to our second episode. Um, and we'll see you next week.